What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are currently working on the FD car and getting a bunch of maintenance done, but I'm going to start working on the Abandoned S15 and start visiting all of this bent over seals here and seams. We're going to clean it all out, rust convert it, sand it all down, treat everything, and then we're going to coat it with the primer, and then we're going to undercoat it. But first, I don't know if you can hear that. It sounds like it's raining on the roof outside, but if we go outside, it's hotter than your mum's hot plate first thing in the morning when she's making your breakfast. I really went back to my Aussie roots with this one. In Australia, on a really hot summer's day, especially in Queensland, it's kind of common that not many people have air conditioners, and this is what we used to do. We just put a sprinkler on the roof, and that way the water cools down the roof so no heat's radiating down and we're all good inside the shop.
A few moments later.
Like I said, it's FD this weekend. We're prepping the car downstairs, which means I need to get some practice in the brand new sim. Well, that's good. Good line. Oh, so good there. Dude, simulators have changed everything for me.
He never comes back home now, guys. He's here. I checked the cameras and he's here. Good job, though.
Oh. Okay, so not only is this next trap no escape, there is no room for error, otherwise it's just you're effed. Like, being able to practice non-stop on a sim is so good for visual cues, right? And also relearning all the fundamentals and all the basics, living in the moment and all that type of stuff. So being able to have this has changed everything. I'm super excited to announce that I am now officially a SIMAGIC driver. They've come on board to support my journey, and I am so excited to have the best of the best sim gear, and by far does this feel insane. Out of all the sims that I've driven, I've never felt pedals and hydros and shifters that feel this realistic. When I switch out of sequential mode into a dog mode on this, it feels like my G-force. We dialed all of the force feedback on everything in here so that it's the same feeling in my car. The position of everything is the same in my car. Look, dude, there's a master cylinder built into this. There's literally brake fluid in this little can. Like, I'm not joking. And it feels like a real hydro. And it's not just like a soft feel. It's the same, like, we put this spring and this thing in there that matches up to the same type of master that I have on mine. So it feels the same amount of pull, like strength required. And then the foot brake and everything else, it's all the same. And it's really good practice. And I've been non-stop practicing this next round. I'm going into the next round with a ton of confidence, a track I've never driven on before. It's a game changer. I've said this before, but obviously some of the world's best drivers right now, they have all admitted that the sim has contributed to their success. And I think it would be stupid of me to not take advantage of the simulator and start really applying that into my driving. Like I said, I've already seen real world improvements. I've relearned a ton of fundamentals that I think are going to really make a big change going into this next FD round and future rounds to come. So thank you so much, SIMAGIC, for supporting us. I have some links down in the description if you guys want to get some SIMAGIC gear, either in the US, Australia, or Japan. Links are all down there to get in contact with their main distributors in those regions. But as for now, you're going to see a lot more sim content coming out of me. If you want to see live streams, make sure you subscribe over on Twitch. Once again, thank you, SIMAGIC. Let's get back to the Abandoned S15 now that we've gotten some practice in.
A few moments later.
Welcome to the floor cam, floor gang. Oh. Anyways, first thing we want to do is get in there with a hammer and a chisel and try and peel back the seams a little bit and bend them away. They've kind of been sealed a little bit, probably from the previous people that worked on this. So we'll bend them back a little. Make sure they're all clean in there, rust proof, and treat anything. Bend them back, trying not to, fatigue it too much. That's the number one thing that I'm a little concerned about, is this making them, even softer, but should be okay. Just want to get in there with rust converter and make sure Oh yeah, there's a little bit of surface rust on there, but it's not actually that bad. As you guys can see, fair bit of surface rust in there, but nothing that bad. So what I'll do is go through that with a wire brush, clean off all the surface. It's just all flaking off, so should be quite easy. You can actually see the old undercoat there, which is nice. So we'll rust convert all of that, clean it off with a wire brush, treat it, fold it back over with some seam sealer in there, and we're gonna be mint.
A few moments later.
Got the rust converter on there, and as you can see, it's already starting to work its magic by the color that it's changing. Pretty awesome. Cleaned out everything. You can see like all the surface rust and stuff that came out on the ground here. Gonna move to the other side and whip that out while this is doing its thing. And then we'll come back and kind of give this a quick Scotch-Brite, clean it all up and get it ready for a bit of primer. Finished this side now and everything's coated. I checked the instructions on the rust converter. It calls for you to wait 24 hours for it to fully cure and set and kind of flash off before doing any kind of painting on it. So I'm not gonna be doing any primering or seam sealing today. We'll have to wait for tomorrow. FD car, we just put in the new clutch. There was nothing wrong with the old clutch. We just like to make sure after a couple rounds we are putting in fresh discs and pressure plates, and this is just kind of what you have to do when you're running a car that makes as much power as this. The clutch has been handling it great since we upgraded to the 1000 FHP. It's been really, really good. We haven't had any slipping issues, and you can see that the disc actually still got a fair bit of meat on there. So that becomes like our spare clutch if anything ever goes wrong. Just doing a ton of maintenance. I got a little bit of wiring to do for some sensors, just so we can monitor a little bit more data about the turbo and what it's doing. But otherwise, really, really stoked on this. And we're just gonna kind of go over and nut and bolt check everything, try and do an alignment this week and make sure we're all good. But otherwise, she's looking great. I'm not gonna lie, I've been thoroughly impressed with how reliable the car has been. An engine I put together myself, fresh build and all that type of stuff. I was very, very nervous going into it, but considering we only have 2 rounds left for the rest of the year, this thing's been very reliable. And I mean, touch wood, right? I've been pretty blown away with it, all things considered. We're gonna be driving at Okinawa, so we're taking the 4.6 out and we're actually going to a 4.99, which is gonna be roughly around pretty much flat for the 5 in the rear end for a final. And that's just because Okinawa is a really small track and I wanna hang in 4th gear. It's pretty much impossible to break a transmission in 4th gear, so they say, all right? So that's normally where you wanna be 1-to-1 with the G-force transmission and everything. So that's why we're going for that. Kind of hoping that we got the gearing right off the bat. If we need anything higher, we can just stick to 3rd, or we can try and source like a 5.1 or a 5.2 or even higher if we need it. But I think we'll be good with the 5.
The next day.
The snail has a little hole in it now.
I mean, it's always had that hole in it, but now it's got a sensor in it.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're doing a bunch of like data logging just so we can see where the turbo's at, where it's most happiest, because there could still be room for more power out of this and more response. So we're gonna be doing a bunch of that, working with Garrett and some cool stuff. Otherwise, getting the sensors all wired in right now. I've got the back pressure sensor done. I'm just finishing up the wiring to go inside the cabin for the Bluetooth turbo speed sensor, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, it's Bluetooth.
Yeah, it's Bluetooth. So it just connects to my iPhone while I'm driving, and I can open the log at any point on the Garrett G-Sense, I think the app is called. And it literally just has all the data.
G-Sense.
I think it's G-Sense. Hang on. Let's just make sure.
G-Smart.
G-Smart. Yeah.
G-Sense. That sounded a bit, you know.
Yeah, it's G-Smart. The G-Spot. No. Anyway. The main benefit to that is just knowing that we're in the efficiency zone. That's the main thing, because we want to know the efficiency zone. Okay, there's no way to say this without sounding weird, it seems. But yeah, we're just trying to make sure that we are in the efficiency zone of the turbo. That's what I wanted to say. Essentially, the turbo's G-spot is where... All the sensors are finally wired in the FD car, which means I can get onto some seam sealing with the Abandoned S15. We're actually ready to load this thing on the truck, but we'll do that first thing in the morning. I have primed all of these seams here after the rust conversion treatment, and it looks good. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna just pretty much lay a bead of the seam sealer inside here, and then I'm gonna tap it over and smush it on it, and we should be good. Hopefully. I hope this is the right way to do this. But I mean, technically, there should just be a nice clean seam there, and I would weld that up if I was perfectly restoring this and use a hammer and a block of steel to kind of like straighten it all out. But this could be getting a big wide kit with big wheels, or it could be a drift car. So we're gonna fold that back over like it is on all my other S15s. Got the seam sealer in there. Now it's time to just hammer this back over. See how the seam seal is coming out? That's what we want. It means it's filling up the space, baby. Oh, this is gonna be messy. Yeah, Spec R S15 50 Gs, I know what I got, baby. Oh, I gotta stop saying Grant's one line. Nice. Now what I gotta do is I'm just gonna run my finger around everything, smooth it all out. I'm gonna add more in places that need it now, because we want this whole thing sealed up so that no water gets in behind any of that. And obviously it's gonna get the bed liner, not the bed liner, but the underbody stuff from Nissan all on it. Rubber chipping black, it's called. It's gonna get that all over this, so it should seal this whole seam up pretty good. I'm gonna go around and seam seal up all these other seams here too that need it, so that this will be ready for a nice fresh coating. And we'll do the same to the other side. It's so gross. It just looks gross because it's all like stringing out. So we've got everything seam sealed up on this side. Looks kind of funny on the camera with the black and the white. And then on this side, all seam sealed up as well. We're gonna let that set for a bit. I still obviously have a lot of seam sealing to do inside the engine bay, but we're gonna be doing that a lot nicer. I didn't care about making this super pretty, purely because this is getting, you know, the undercoat body liner or bed liner or whatever stuff on it, so that'll all get covered up. But definitely in the engine bay, I want to make sure we're doing those really nice OEM looking lines and stuff like that with the seam sealer, because that's going to be a lot more visible. I'm also thinking about doing just a really thin seam seal across in here. I know OEM wise this doesn't get seam sealed usually, but I want to, because I feel like that'll help prevent moisture or water on a rainy day going in there. You can see like on this one, no, there is seam sealer in there. Look at that. The more you know, there is. Especially like you can see it on this side heaps. Interesting. Huh, yeah, it's definitely there. Interesting. Huh, okay. For some reason I thought OEM didn't have that. Wait, is it on my FD car? But, maybe it's actually already been cut out of my FD car. It's late right now, by the way, guys. It's like 11 p.m. You can hear my electronic throttle body on because we're doing some stuff, but... yeah, this has been stitch welded, so it's all been cleaned out. Damn. Daikis is stitch welded too, so that's, I was like looking at Daikis and stuff and just assumed there's no seam sealer, but there definitely is. So we'll be seam sealing up every single seam in the engine bay. I'm pretty stoked. I think this is going to turn out to be really nice engine bay when it's all painted and good to go. But more progress on the Abandoned S15. The FD car is pretty much ready to go mechanically. I'm actually just doing some remote stuff with Link, and we are configuring and changing a whole bunch of stuff with the digital dash, and we're going to be taking advantage of the GPS sensor and stuff like that, so we can actually start using the GPS speed data from the dash that's going to be getting sent to the ECU and being logged with other things like, you know, measuring G-force, yaw, and all that other type of stuff that you can get out of it, which will be super cool for just more data. As you guys know, this year has been a massive learning curve for me, and it's not something that we weren't expecting. We knew it was going to be a learning curve. I knew it was going to be big, but probably didn't expect it to be this big, but I am enjoying it. I am learning so much. I'm currently being coached by an incredible person right now who has a lot of experience and has worked with tons and tons and tons of drivers here in Japan, with them, you know, winning non-stop. And it's just been very, very interesting kind of flicking a switch and really understanding that competing with drifting is so different to just like, you know, driving with your friends and having fun at a Matsuri or something like that. It is very, very different. So different that even when you look at, say, you know, some of the top grip races in Japan, like the GT 500 or 300 class, right? Even if you come last in qualifying, you're still in the race. You just start at the end of the pack. Drifting, it's not like that. You fail qualifying, you don't even get in. So it's just funny kind of like looking at all these different aspects and stuff like that, and also just learning about the differences between, you know, competitive drifting and normal drifting. At some point, I am gonna probably make like a huge video where we just talk and go through that, and I'll have a whiteboard and stuff, and we'll go through everything systematically on the SAMMIT Raw channel. But for now, it's been a huge learning curve. One of the biggest things that I've been focusing for the last month is hand control. I'm sure you kind of noticed it in the Matsuri recap video, but my hand control is getting a lot better, because one of the biggest issues that I had going to FD J1 was all the fumbling, and when the car would not go or do what I wanted it to, I would kind of panic and fumble the wheel. And that's a very bad thing. And plus just other things too, like just with the speed and how to control the car and going back and learning fundamentals. I mean, it sounds like I'm ranting and repeating myself. I promise you I'm not. I have literally been going back to the basics on some stuff and literally looking at it and like, I can't believe I never thought of that before. And I feel stupid. But anyways, Sam talking video slash everything is insane right now because we are going to FD this week and we have a lot of traveling to do. We're going all the way down to Okubuki, which is a snowboarding ski resort. And it's obviously summer, so they rent out the car parks and stuff like that. And we're going to be using the service road to the car parks as the main drift course. There is no room for error. It is wall to wall to wall. If you F up, you're losing the rear end of your car, and we all have rear mount radiators, so it's going to be a bad time. Anyways, I don't know what we're going to do after this, but something, yes. Look how satisfying this is, guys. Oh man, way too stoked about how good this is going to look. Look at that. Oh, I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. Well, this came out better than I was expecting. This looks incredible. It might be hard for the camera to really pick it up, but this is the first coat of the undercoating done. It's kind of like, it's pretty much like a bed liner, but it's like more of the OEM one. It's really good. It's called Rubber Chipping Black in Japan. This stuff, it's good. So we're gonna see how that sets after tomorrow. I'm pretty exhausted. It's nearly midnight. But this looks amazing. And this just keeps giving me even more motivation because, man, not much longer now. We can have this thing kind of getting assembled. But I didn't bother with taping anything in the bay because all of this is getting prepped and sanded. So it's actually a really good time for me to just do the undercoating. That way we don't have to tape everything up and worrying about getting anything on inside the nice clean engine bay. But yeah, we'll do the other side probably tomorrow. I'm pretty beat, so yeah. Also, this side was the last side we did, and it probably needs a little bit more time. I've been kind of going between doing stuff on this and then doing stuff on this all day today, so it's a little all over the place. But that's where we're at with the Abandoned S15. She's chugging along. And once we're back from FD, I can really start getting into this and into that and kind of get back on track of things and make sure this is done too. It's kind of been an absolute shit show, to say the least, to be completely honest. I'm honestly so excited to only have one project to work on at a time once these are all done, just because that's gonna bring way more consistency in and help with the direction of the channel and everything like that, so we know exactly what's going down. But yeah, I think the max amount of projects I want going on at the same time is 2. So that way, when we're waiting for something or there's some kind of delay that's out of my control with one of the main ones that we're filming, that we can switch to the other one for a few videos to then go back. We definitely I think we grew a little too fast, and then I just kept seeing really amazing cars or super cheap, crappy cars that I wanted to buy and save and make content on and all that type of stuff. And then it just kind of turned into me having too much, too soon, and not the ability to be able to fix them right away. Anyways, but yeah, Abandoned S15's coming along great. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of today's video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
He said, son, when you grow up, would you be the savior